Whoa, 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 and whoa. Ladies and gentlemen, there are some massive kind of developments here in the boxing world, specifically Turki Alalshikh recently saying that he is eyeing putting together Terence Bud Crawford and Saul Canelo Alvarez. I said the full name. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who Turki Alalshikh is, he's Your Excellency over in Saudi. He's a Saudi advisor. He's heavily in the entertainment realm, specifically in the boxing world. He's been responsible as of recent, especially for being behind some of these gigantic boxing matches that have been put together. And if he can pull this off, not only would this be just one, obviously a super fight, I think of our time currently over the past 10, 15 years, this might be the biggest boxing match you could possibly put together. When we talk about Terence Crawford and Canelo, these are two of not just the biggest names in boxing right now, but of all time. And both of these guys are incredibly skilled at the highest level, and both get things done in a similar but yet very different fashion. And when I look at this matchup stylistically, I really can't find a matchup that intrigues me more in terms of boxing than these two gentlemen stepping into the squared circle together. Like, let me just say this, right? First of all, there's a lot of ifs when it comes to boxing, right? We know how boxing is kind of corrupt and it's got some weird leaks and holes in it. And Turki Alalshikh even mentioned that, like, there's some issues with boxing and a lot of those big matchups that should happen never happen. And a lot of it has to do with money, promotions kind of getting in the way, because with boxing, it's not like where everyone's under the UFC banner and we have rankings and everyone's on the same roster, where it's like you're kind of pulling guys from different promotions, different organizations. There's just so much that goes into it, and there's so much money, and there's just a lot of, I don't want to just keep being negative in terms of like corruption, but it's just a very difficult thing to put together when it comes to a super fight in boxing. But if there's any hope for any of us recently in boxing, we have seen some massive fights come together. You know, and you can say whatever you want about them. Ryan Garcia has been a part of two of them, one with Devin Haney, one with Tank Davis. We've seen Terence Crawford step up to the plate, take some big fights. We've seen Errol Spence step up and take some big fights. So it seems like boxers are starting to open up their minds a little bit in terms of like, okay, listen, I don't have to be this undefeated guy to be marketable. If I'm going to go in there and fight the other best, even if I come up short, okay, so who did I lose to? I lost to one of the other best guys. Like, there's always a potential rematch. There's always options down the line. So I'm excited the fact that these boxers, respect to some of these boxers, man, for being willing to finally do that, because it's been something that has been the Achilles heel of boxing for so long. But getting past that, let's say this does happen. I believe that this would be the biggest boxing match in probably the last 10, 15 years at least that we have ever seen. I mean, I don't care about Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou and Fury and Wilder and all those different things. This would be the biggest boxing match out of all of them. I mean, these two guys are absolutely spectacular and sensational. When you talk about Terence Bud Crawford, one, he's a southpaw. Canelo is an orthodox style fighter, so we would, one, have the open stance battle, which I would love to see that, right? I mean, just that classic southpaw versus orthodox fighter. It's always interesting, especially in boxing, because we always, when we talk about an MMA and some of these different sports, we're like, oh, a guy has good head movement, good punches, good defense, good this, good that. In boxing at the highest level, all of the boxers have that. Even the ones that like aren't the best or pound for pound number one, like all professional boxers have really sensational defense, really good offense, really good footwork, really good positioning, really good head movement. But with these two, they are elite, but in kind of different ways, right? Terence Crawford, one, is an absolute freak athlete. If there was a guy that I was going to nominate in terms of men's professional boxing at the top of the heap that could transition over into MMA and possibly have some success, he would probably be my nomination. If you have not seen videos of him online, grappling, wrestling around, like, this man is a very high-level athlete. And not only that, he has incredible speed, incredible IQ in there, and his movement is outstanding. His footwork is good, and his ability to just win the foot positioning battle and land good, clean shots while getting in and out of range is second to none. It's some of the best in boxing at this time. And across the ring would be Canelo Alvarez, man. When you look at Canelo, it's hard to find a guy that when that you're like, okay, I want to move my head like a professional boxer. I want to have a good high guard. I want to learn how to slip and rip, counter, and work on my catch and shoots. Who are you watching? You're watching Canelo Alvarez. We've heard guys like Justin Gaethje, Sean O'Malley. We've heard a lot of MMA guys say, hey, look, I take a lot of influence from Canelo over in MMA. Even Ilia Topuria, who's the featherweight champ in the UFC, like he's been a guy that's like, man, I model my game after Canelo. And why is that? Well, not only does Canelo have outstanding head movement, he has really good defense. He has a very good high guard. He has crazy power in his shots. He has a nasty uppercut. We saw that in his last outing against a young, hungry prospect. Like, we had seen both of these guys in there with some really high-level competition, and they still look dominant in most of their outings. And Terence Bud Crawford, just the speed and the precision in which he is able to operate is just beyond impressive. He's undefeated. He does have a bout coming up, so I'll be curious. Obviously, I think that he wins that over Israel. So, I think that, obviously the stars would align to where Alvarez is coming off a win. Bud Crawford, theoretically, hopefully would be coming off of a win here. And Turki Alalshikh is saying, listen, end of 2024, early 2025, I would really like to put something like this together. And all I can say is this, what I said at the beginning of the video. Whoa, 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 and whoa. There's a lot of variables when it comes together of putting a gigantic boxing match. But let me just say this. If this happens and they are able to put these two gentlemen in the ring together, take my money, sign me up. Hell, if I have to start a fund or something to get these guys in there, man. I mean, not that it would help because we're talking about millions that these guys are going to be making. I have to see this. I have to see this. And now that Turki Alalshikh is saying, like, look, we're going to get this match. I'm really trying to push for this. I hope that we see this thing happen because stylistically, the X's and O's perspective, both of these guys are basically the top two pound-for-pound boxers in the world right now. I know we have Tank Davis. I know we have some other names out there, but mainly the two huge draws who people are looking at and like, these dudes are just next level. Canelo and Bud Crawford, man. But in terms of the stylistic matchup, I think this is one of the biggest and most intriguing fights that you could put together in boxing right now. I hope this happens. I want to hear from you all down in the comments. Like this video. Comment your thoughts below. Do you think this happens? And if it does, do you favor Canelo Alvarez or do you favor Terence Crawford? Subscribe to the channel. Help your boy out. I would appreciate it. See you next time.